And the next prompt is, the sexual revolution has devalued women and made them infinitely less happy.
My girl, what up with it?
No, maybe. Okay. Whoever feels strongly about it can speak.
I think that this term, calling it a sexual revolution, is quite strange and it distorts history. If you look at the history of like the way that people engaged in sex, it really has not quite changed much. The only thing that we've seen change for the most part is the rise in social media and the rise of seeking out sexual relationships through that. Because you can go back through history and look at like the Greeks and the Romans that were very openly sexual. People were having sex in public. Like it was not a private thing. It never was. And it really only became...
That's a fallen empire, by the way, for those people who like to use that argument. That's a fallen empire. So that's not really a good argument, but I'm going to keep it playing.
Came like this private thing when you look at like the rise of like industrialism in the United States, and you see sex become like commodified, and it became like a dirty thing, with also the rise of, you know, like religion and Protestantism in the US also kind of demonized it, and it became a weapon used against women. And I think that we've seen the pendulum go from like being hypersexual in the past, where sex wasn't like a commodified thing or it wasn't a demonized thing, to kind of going through this period of like demonizing people for exploring their sexuality or things like that. And now we've kind of come back out the other side where some people abuse it, some people don't. And I think that you have to have moderation. I've said this before, like as far as devaluing women, I think that the problem with devaluing women who are open about their sexuality or commodify their own sexuality and take control over it is a problem with patriarchy, and I think it's a problem with misogyny. I don't think it's a feminism problem.
Well, I would say that when you like put yourself out there to be overtly sexual, and you don't give men anything to work for, so you lessen your value. So if you want women to be valuable, then having a lot of sex with men, being just out there, not caring about how you present yourself, that is not going to make you happy. You're actually sadder now. You're not happy. And I think that, you know, women tend, like all species, one thing we know is that we're here to be with each other. You can try to look at it like we're not equal. We provide equal value. And men can do things that women simply can't. You have like, you...
Can I ask what? What can men do that we can't?
I mean, men build everything. We don't. Men protect us. They fight wars. We don't.
What do they protect us from? Other men?
No, women have always fought in wars. Women have built so many things.
Yeah.
So many things.
But in the world, like the
Well, they were
roads,
also weren't allowed
the
to.
buildings, the architecture, men do all of that.
Women
Men
were
are the
also part of
geniuses.
it, though.
It's way more male geniuses that are female geniuses.
That doesn't answer the question.
Point of relevance. As you can see, I said point of relevance. As you can see with the 6, right? The people over there on the left, they said what they said. The people that was on the right ain't say not one word. Now when she's talking, key word, I need to interrupt. Now the whole conversation to derail.
Yo.
Now they finna throw a whole bunch of variables. Yep. And now it's who they protecting us from? What is this? What is that? What wars? What? Like, goddamn.
No, that's a good point. That's a great point. That's a great point. But it also goes to show you as well, though, a lot of them really can't function in that matter. They can't sit and have an actual genuine discussion just simply because I can sit here and let you talk the whole time and not say nothing. I can just sit back and be like, all right, whether I agree or disagree, I can sit back and let you get your shit off. But the moment it's reversed, then I start to talk, and then I say one trigger word, like you said. Now all of a sudden you got something you want to say, like, hold on, you gonna let me finish my thoughts, or what's it going? Or is it the fact that I said something that's actually true, but you're gonna try to derail me off the point? So therefore, you can try to corner me and say, "Oh, well, what about this? What about this? What about this?" Like,
Or
no, go ahead.
Yeah. The number one thing that tends to happen, and I don't even think a lot of women believe they do this. You know how they say I've been on so many panels and all these men said this. And we be like, what? Men don't say that shit. They're like, yes, y'all do. I was on this panel, y'all said this. If you actually go back and look at the conversation, what they do is when a man says something, they hear one word and they derail it just like this, hear a key word, and say, so what you saying is you saying that X, Y, Z and blah, blah, blah? No, that's not. Yes, that is what you're saying in X, Y, Z. It's based off what they interpret. So now, what they didn't interpret out that conversation, even though the man said, hey, no, that's not my point. That's not what I'm saying. They go somewhere over here and say, yeah, I was on this other panel. The man said X, Y, and Z. And that's usually what happened, just what's going on right now. So I knew this conversation wasn't going to go when I saw the pink hair. I knew it.
And that's the thing. It didn't even begun to go left yet.
Question though, the question was, what can they do? Not what have they done?
Well, she's answering the question a little bit, but you're saying like they're more men geniuses. They stopped us from reading. They stopped us from going to school.
Okay,
the first Black woman lawyer wasn't
now,
allowed to practice law. She got her law degree, but she wasn't allowed to even practice and be a lawyer. They stopped us.
But that's not what modern feminism is about.
What has it stopped us from reading? Because even when in school, when I was reading biology and physics and chemistry books, because my mom was making me read all that stuff, the girls in my age range, they was reading Zane and all these other freak ass books. So even though y'all was reading, y'all wasn't reading nothing beneficial to the future.
Exactly.
So it's not that nobody stopped you from doing shit. Y'all don't go down the path of anything beneficial. It's just like when they try to compare jobs and they like, oh, they pay men more than they pay women. Nah, for one, we down to work more OT and call in less than y'all, no matter the industry. And for two, some of the industries, y'all just not even gonna muster up the courage to even go into. Let alone we not even gonna talk about whether you could physically do it or not. But a lot of women, y'all want to go get y'all nails and y'all hands and feet done with y'all nails. Y'all ain't finna go to the oil field and be out there covered in motherfucking crude oil for 16 hours a day.
Thanks.
You don't forgot what complexion you is. You was born white and used the nigga now for 16 hours a day because you black as tar with oil all over you. Like, y'all not finna go do that shit. So let's cut that part out.
And another thing I noticed with this is, I think what is liberals on the left, conservatives on the right.
Yeah, yep.
You notice there ain't number white women on the left.
Yep.
It is black women on the right that's conservative. So that's one of those things where I do think innately most black people are conservative leaning. Most are. It's just on social media, you have your diasporas of women that think the same, and it's not a lot of them, but I think most women actually think like the women that's on the right. Most of them. They might virtue signal online, but what they actually do in real life is more conservative.
Yeah, of course.
You're not gonna catch most women out there half naked, they're naked. It's always virtual signaling online, right? But they not finna go do it themselves. But the problem is that because they virtue signal online, it seems like most women align with the bullshit.
But you see, like on the left, like they were pretty much thought they're gonna have that haha moment, like that we've been so oppressed and all this other shit, and the ones on the right are kind of like, yeah, no, that's bullshit. Like,
and they
we had everything going on, yeah. And it's like, but that's how a lot of people just a lot of women. That's how they bond with shit. Is like how oppressed we've been and how it's bad for us, and everyone is bad. You know, they're treating us this kind of way and blah 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 blah. Most times it's just one of those things where, hey, you know what? We're gonna say we've been fucked over this whole time and everyone's gonna agree with us. But these other chicks are like, no, that's not the way the fuck this shit happened.
The irony of the situation is you got the white liberals and you got the black women over at the right. We already know the history of our country. But y'all saying y'all couldn't do nothing. What the hell? Y'all sitting here talking to us, black people, talking about y'all couldn't do this. What the hell you thought we could? What you thought we could?
That's how a lot of people bond. They think that we're like in shackles, and that we've been held back so long. And some people like that's not the reality. We We control our own future. Shit, for a long time. This ain't nothing new. Shit, this been going on fucking before I was born.
I might say something controversial, but I'm gonna say I this is not what I think. This is what I got from somebody else. It was this white dude on TikTok, and he said, "I'm so glad y'all black people not getting into white people business. I know that sound bad, but he said I'm glad y'all not doing it because those white liberal, they want to get y'all fired up so y'all can go do our bidding, and they want y'all to get in the fight and do it. Because if some casualty happen and y'all black, then they feel as though they can have more upper hand on the situation. If it's just white people getting unalive, whatever, ain't nothing gonna happen. But if it's a person of color, y'all will be the sacrificial lamb of whatever movement that's going on that these white liberal people are doing."
Facts. And that's crazy. But it goes to show you though. That's why they always say you got to be careful of the liberal white women. That's why they say liberal white women are the most dangerous to society right now. It ain't got shit to do with the black people. It ain't got shit to do with the white man. It ain't got shit to do with the black man or black woman. It's the liberal white women, and also the liberal white men who allow it. That's why it is what it is. That's what's going on. So when we listen to this conversation right now, you can clearly see the difference. You can clearly see you here, and they're gonna display it right now. When I play this video, watch. It's crazy.
That we have surpassed that already. You guys can read, you guys can vote, you can do everything you want to do, and you keep making issues. This is why you always talking about the patriarchy and capitalism. You feed it. Okay, why do you think that you are a feminist in the first place? They wanted you to work. That's what they wanted you to do. They wanted two people in the household to work versus one, right? But you hate capitalism, but you serve it. You would rather serve capitalism than serve your man, the man that was put here to protect you.
Yeah, but does your man make enough money so that you don't have to work? This is my thing. If we're talking about family units, these are two people. They get to decide what happens in their unit. And reality is some men are not going to be able to provide all that they can. Talk about pressure. I feel like feminism was good for men because it kind of relieved them of a little bit of pressure.
It lifted everybody up.
Well,
Yeah,
but
really
it's made men so much more depressed than ever. It's made them weaker.
I think they just don't like the fact that now they see, oh, women can be as good as us because now that we're allowed to have these rights, we're graduating from college
be
more
as
than
good
they
as
are now.
men? Why do you have to be?
Because we live in their world. And I'm saying because we live in this world with them where they are suppressing us, their bar is up here. If our bar gets lifted, so does theirs. Our bar gets lifted, so does theirs.
Why do women need to be less than men?
Yeah.
Women are not less than men. They're different from men. We provide equal value, but we're different. You can't, it's no way that if you got a man that's your age, your height, whatever, he's going and you race him. You're not going to beat him. More times than not, they're going to dust you, which lets you know that you are not equal to them.
In what sport?
Not in that way. You're not equal. They're stronger. They have more logic. You're more emotional. It's just.
To speak to the emotions, if I could maybe chime in here, right? The idea that like men are less emotional than women. It's like, well,
But you see the issue here though that I'm having. Every time they get triggered, the left always interrupts. They let them get their shit off. Let them say whatever it is that they want to say, and then they speak. But as soon as they start talking, as soon as the right starts talking, then all of a sudden somebody has to let me chime in. No, let me get my point off, and then you can chime.
Have you been in a situation to where you knew you were fucking right about a situation, and because you at that point you calm as fuck, you're like I'm gonna let you go. I'm about to cook your ass because you're like no, keep going. But then have you ever been in a situation where it was kind of iffy, where you like, man, I might be talking dumb shit. You keep fucking interrupting when they're talking. You're like, you know what? You gotta keep no, that's not it. That's it. You gotta understand me. You gotta understand me. You can know when someone is right and they know what the fuck is going on because, like you said, it's calm and cool. They're like, I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead. I already know what I'm about to say is about to fucking burn your ass. So that's how you know when someone is in a situation where they know they're losing and they know what the fuck they're saying is damn near wrong. They got to keep interjecting because you're not understanding, because if you understanding me, you wouldn't be going against me. It's kind of how they be saying what they were trying to say.
It's just with the women on the left, they are so used to having one way conversation that everybody agrees because that's the group of people they in. They do not usually have conversation with people on the other side of the aisle. Another thing is with women that's on the left, with their type of thinking, 1 + 1 = 2, which means if you divide 2 = 1, and that must mean that's how the vision was created. And now we got to multiply. Now that we got to multiply it to everything is the same. They put so many variables on one topic. They overload it, and that lets you know they don't have an original thought. Everything means something, right? If we talk about the patriarchy, now they finna overload the topic of patriarchy. Now, that we couldn't let them read, they couldn't get a car, they couldn't do this. They say the same thing over and over again without no nuance. Which, yes, you could have a bank account, man, when you was back then. Y'all could. Y'all just couldn't accumulate debt. That means if you had if you had a husband, you couldn't accumulate debt. So it was all on him. He paid the debt. You didn't have to. You can just spend the money and you didn't never get debt. It wasn't law. If you was by yourself, you could get a bank account. White women could. And also, also with this whole voting situation, they so fucking dumb because they talking about black men can vote before white women. Technically we could, but guess what was going on? We had to count how much gum was in the fucking jar, or they was closing down a voting station, so people had to walk or drive to the next town in order to vote. And by the time they got there, the voting polls was closed. They was doing real deal voter suppression back then. So no, technically you could vote, but no, we couldn't vote because then they had all those type of voter suppression shit that was going on. This is that white privileged liberal ass shit that they just wanted to get out there, and they got fucked up with feminism. Because every time they say a point, they don't have no nuance, no history, no notes, no nothing. They just hear what they heard from somebody else. We couldn't have a bank account. Why? What was the reason why you couldn't? Why black men could vote before us? Why? What was the nuance of that? Oh yeah. Even most people, even most men couldn't vote. You had to own land in order to vote back then. So it wasn't even all white men couldn't even vote back then. You had to have land.
Yep.
They don't talk about none of this shit.
Yeah, but why the talking points of points that were valid before, like when my great grandparents were alive? Like, why the fuck don't we have like somewhat current like conversation? Like vote like shit was before my grandparents. I'm way older than y'all. Like that's crazy as fuck that these people are making that like a valid point to talk about. That shit has not been like that in fucking a long ass time. Like I don't understand. Like in every conversation they talk about how someone's oppressed, it was way before us and way before our parents, and maybe in the time of their parents, but probably before then too. So I don't understand how the fuck these are like talking points still.
It's a victim mindset because you have to bask in the failures that you have, and they don't want to atone to. If you got all this freedom you got right now, and you look back and your life ain't going the way it is, you gonna blame yourself, or you gonna blame the patriarchy?
You can't blame yourself.
Are you gonna? That's the reason why they keep reaching all the way back in the history bag, and that's the reason why the women on the right are like, "Yo, what about right now? What you got going on right now?" Mm-hmm. Oh no, I can't. I spent all my money on my purple hair, my pink hair. It's the patriarchy. What blah blah blah. Like it's just a victim mentality. And then I had a conversation. There's a difference between being a victim and having a victim mentality. You can be a victim of something, yes, you can. But when you have a victim mentality, that means anything that you do that's your own free will and accord, and that's your choice. If it doesn't go to plan, you are going to have a crutch and blame it on something else other than, okay, that was a messed up on my part. I need to do better.
Yep.
On me, coach. They, them women up in there, I guarantee none of them play sports. That's on me, coach. I take full responsibility. I shouldn't have shot that ball. I should have passed it. That's on me. I'm gonna run these extra 4, 5, 6 laps. They ain't did none of that.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and play some more.
What's the number one cause of crime? Do you guys know like the actual preceding
Emotions.
factors?
Poverty.
It's actually impulsivity, right? ADHD is one of the largest things that is in prison, right? ADHD, impulsivity, right? And drinking, right? Men are highly addictive. They're suiciding at a higher rate than women are. The idea that men aren't emotional is again the type of prescriptive perpetuation that is bad for
Anger is
men.
an emotion.
That's bad for men and it's bad for women. Men are emotional, right? Women are emotional in different ways. You're right. If you talk to, for example, a trans woman who's gone on estrogen, for example, a lot of negative emotions begin to emerge, more specifically like sadness. The issue is that we all act like logic devoid of emotion is wisdom, but that there's not even a historical precedent for this. If you look back to like some of the original writers of wisdom, you talk about the Spartans or the Athenians, they loved their feelings. The Spartan men were so passionate about one another and the things that they fought for that they openly sobbed. That's what original Stoicism is. It's an acknowledgement of the feelings and a drive for action and through it. You take away a rat's ability to feel emotion, it starves to death in like a week because emotion drives all of us. Men aren't more or less emotional. We're all emotional. The issue is that, yeah, they have testosterone. They're always going to lift things heavier than I am. That's why they're disproportionately represented in labor fields. But the issue is that A, technology has balanced those things, and B, the idea that men are just better, men just by and large, because of X and Y, have a little bit more dimorphism at the ends. They might like perform really high here. They're also disproportionately represented in some of the most disabled individuals, some of the most addicted individuals, some of the most homeless individuals, right? And so this idea that we're like putting like women below men because like we tend to be kind of, I would argue, more balanced creatures, I think is disserving both of us.
I don't think that's
But we're
what
not
she said.
putting
Yeah.
it.
That's
We're
not
not
what she
putting
said.
women under men.
Yeah.
We always like I was talking about this earlier, where we're always constantly like obsessing over this hierarchy on. I hear it from feminists a lot where it's like, oh, well, men aren't better. Like, women are under, like the book, The Second Sex. Like this hasn't come from women who were happy being mothers and anti-feminists, anti-suffragettes. They're not saying that. It's always the feminists that are saying this. So I'm just like, why are y'all so obsessed with trying to be men? Like, why can't you just be good women and enjoy the roles that we're supposed to play, which is a mother, because a man can't fill the mother role. That's why. So I just don't understand what the problem is and why you guys are trying to be men.
Wait, is that the only
We're
role?
not trying to be men.
Wait, no, is that the only role we play though? Is mom? That's it?
No, I just threw a role like.
Well, one quick thing though, what old girl who just went on this whole rant talking about rats and shit, what she failed to realize is why are these men that she claimed that are in jail? What is the cause of that? What's the cause of it?
Most of it's women.
Of these emotional men, because 9 times out of 10, that's why we continue to keep breaking up these conversations. What typically happens? Who tends to go into jail versus who tends to not go into jail? Now, of course, nothing is absolute. That's why we always have these studies. That's why data is very important, right? 2-parent household, single fathers, right? The difference between the two, which is why we just went back to this whole conversation with Opulent 6 and Mr. Fantastic. It's the same thing. There's data for a reason. So yeah, you can talk about these emotional men. Everybody on this panel would agree. There are a lot of emotional men that are in the prison system. Now, again, we can still argue, we can go on a whole tangent, a whole nother conversation about some of it being falsified, and some individuals are in jail for no fucking reason, but then that still doesn't take away from the fact that there are a lot of individuals in there because of an emotional action that they took based off of what? Who were they raised by? Someone that was far more emotional, grandparent, mother, typically speaking, and this led them to acting irrational and not being able to control their emotion because they didn't have a father in their life. But
it's good to show your emotions. Most women tell you it's good to show your emotions, and they really believe that shit. Like, it's good to show your emotions, and a lot of times it is 100% not good. Not because it's embarrassing, it's because it'll make you do some dumb shit.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
it always misconstrued when we talk about the emotion thing. A lot of women, they misconstrue like, yes, both of us have emotion, but how we display our emotions are different. That's the main thing. Men, it's like when we say emotion, as us as men, is what the lady that's on the left talking about. Being passionate about something, something that a football game, winning the championship. You got through a hard part in your life and you proud of yourself because you said, I'm not a victim, I'm gonna get above it and I'm out in a better situation. That type of shit. Yeah, we do get emotional on that type of front. But when we're talking about emotional with women, we're talking about they get incapacitated. They can't do shit. Oh my God, I can't do nothing. What? Oh my God, my feelings. Or it's like, when they be at work and they hate that bitch from down the hall that always give her orders, but she's not management and she got to tell you about it. And now she pissed, but she don't never do nothing to get out the situation. She just come home and complain about that bitch every damn day. You know what I'm saying? And they, if you have a conversation, they want an emotional intelligent type of guy. Most of them can't handle emotional intelligent type of guy because if I actually come to you and I tell you how I feel, if it's not about you, everything's okay. But if it is about you, about some bullshit that you're doing, and I'm not even coming at you wrong, I'm just telling you about yourself, they can't handle that either. So now they get emotional and you're talking about this one thing that they doing, they go in the deep end. So I'm just a bad girlfriend. I'm just a bad wife. No, I'm just talking about this thing right here. Stay right here. Don't go in universe 6 or 7, right here.
Stay with me.
Stay right here. No, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, and this, that, and the third. Now she taking it out on you. That's what we're talking about. Emotional. It's the action after you get into an emotional state is what the things that we're talking about. Are there overly emotional guys that do go on a rampage and do some dumb shit and which get them to go to jail? Yes, but we're saying on the most part, shit, us as men, yeah, we have our emotions, but we're just talking about two different sides of the coin when it comes to emotion between men and women.
Yeah,
but they just always want men to be bitches though. Men emotion, y'all need to get it out. Okay, we get it out. I just feel like I was just more masculine than him.
Yeah, but they always want emotional intelligence, but they don't want to come to the cleaners.
That's true.
But emotional intelligence, that means you got to agree with me. That's their emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, I need you to see what I'm talking about, and you got to agree with me, or some kind of way. You just don't go against what I'm saying. That's their emotional intelligence.
No, emotional intelligence for women. Emotional intelligence for women in general, how they like. I understand the definition, but when I hear them about emotional intelligence saying they are, them being able to tell you how they feel is emotional intelligence to them. But at the same time, they be in such an emotional state, they don't understand how they come off. Right?
Yeah, if you disagree with it, then you're not emotionally intelligent because you couldn't handle it.
They don't understand that when they're actually saying how they feel, they think they are rightfully so to say whatever they want just because they feel it. So if they say some disrespectful shit to you because they're frustrated, they feel as though they are emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence is being able to communicate effectively while controlling your emotions and at the same time understanding what you're saying to whoever you convey it to, how it affects them emotionally. That's what it is. That means if I'm frustrated with something that you're doing, I understand how to control my emotions and at the same time tell you about yourself, but not in a bad way to make you feel bad. Or I don't have to be condescending. I don't have to do innuendos. I don't have to shame you. I don't have to bring up your past for you to get right.
Hey, but,
I don't have to do none of that.
But emotional intelligence a lot of times say, "Hey, you said some fucked up shit. I'm going to walk away." But then they don't see that as emotional intelligence. They just saying you run away from the situation. They're in their mind, which is wrong. Emotional intelligence. And then if you got it, if it works, is I said some shit to you how I felt, and you deciphered it and said, and made it to a way to where we're going to resolve it to where I'm going to feel better about it. That's their emotional intelligence. It's not that, hey, you said some foul shit to me and I'm not going to lose my shit over some shit you got to say. I'm leaving. That is really emotional intelligence, because I'm not going to lose my shit over some shit you said, even though you said some foul shit. But they don't look at that like that. They don't look at that. That's how what it is.
Yeah, but even when you do lose
testosterone they don't have testosterone that you got to control.
No.
They ain't got that. Let me go over here and cool down real quick because I'm getting pissed the fuck off, and then I'm gonna come back, and then I'll be able to address the situation accordingly.
But to them, that's not emotional intelligence.
I know, that's why we need to bring the old school emotional intelligence back. Where that backhand used to preheat some foreheads.
He done brought the laundry background in.
No, seriously though. So you get these people that cry for emotional intelligence in men and all this other stuff. Then they finally get emotional intelligence in men to their standard. Now they talking about there's too many simps and crybabies outside. Which one do you want? Go ahead, come back and get blessed by this pimp hand. Shut the fuck up when I tell you shut the fuck up. Let me gather my thoughts before I respond, instead of you just trying to deep dive into every utmost thought that comes across my mind. And then we can talk and regroup later. Yeah, sometimes I do need to leave the house and go take that drive.
Yeah.
It's safer if I take that drive than if I put your head between one of these washers and dryers over here. So chill out. You know what I mean? Like everything, just that's the problem now, where we always, you know, for lack of better blaming on anything else, we kind of blame single moms for the way society has gone. Because yeah, you can raise your daughters right, possibly, but when they come to them sons, you just teaching them how to be bitch made.
Dude,
so you raising the bitches you're gonna grow up to date. That's really just all it is.
This is the way they look at it though. They look at it like that the way what they're doing is not causing harm, so it's good. I'm gonna tell you like my personal shit. The way I know sometimes that shit it doesn't work with my dog, right? I always think like I ain't gonna beat the shit out of him. He does something wrong, I'm just gonna do whatever. He ended up fucking biting somebody, right? And I know what it was is because I didn't have that dominance over him. I was kind of like I let a lot of shit slide, and what it was, he ended up doing some shit that could have fucked me over real big time, but it didn't. Thank God. But now I address the situation way different. I don't give a fuck. Like he knows that I'm the one that's dominating this situation in this fucking house. I don't give a fuck how it looks. I don't give a shit, right? Because he ain't gonna do no shit like that again. So a lot of times, yeah. I mean, like I said, these women, it may feel good that you want to be their friend and shit. And all. Now you're gonna raise someone that's gonna fuck some shit up, and later on in life, and then now you want to get into the daddy. Now you're like, now you need to take care of him. I already fucked him up, so go ahead. Yeah, it should not work that way, man.
I know y'all done seen the videos. These little boys beating the shit out their moms these days.
Shit.
Yeah, you see that one that went to jail?
Huh?
That one that he broke the car windshield or whatever. He ended up going to jail.
Oh yeah, he got his ass whooped.
He beat his ass. He was crying that he want to come home.
Yeah,
got that act right.
Yeah, he thought he was the hardest thing in the trap.
In the near future, a lot of these kids that's been raised gentle parent style, we're gonna see the effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be saying, "What's going on with these kids?"
We already seeing the effects of it with all these ICE protests.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me play some more. Let me play some more of this. Let me play the last one. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just threw a role out there that man cannot fill.
I think I'm the most masculine one here. I'm not trying to be a man. I'm just more questioning like what is being a woman? Like what is that gonna look like for me? And it's not that I think that I'm better than men. It's just like even just saying like men are more logical. It's like I think men have been taught that their emotions are logic. Then it's not that they're more logical. They're not better decision makers. They're not the ones running our households. It's women that are running the households, you know?
I would
that's why households you see households that are led by women and versus single households that are led by men. Men do a better job raising children by themselves.
You don't get
single households led by women are creating YNs that are in the Black community. Women do that. Okay. Men provide structure. They provide discipline, and that's within the woman too.
So men sound like great mothers.
Is anyone on this side passionate about
Oh,
this particular
dumbass
topic? Would
up.
like to speak on it?
I did. I wanted to say something with respect to the lesbian because I can't identify. But I think the flaw with feminism is the expectation that we are supposed to be the same at all. I think we understand and we appreciate we are not better or worse. We are not equal. We are equal valued, but we're very different. And I think there's a natural biology that often gets overlooked, especially if you've raised boys. You will see from the womb, they are just different. And I think when we try to put them together and say, anything you can do, I can do better, we're setting ourselves up for failure. And you made a comment earlier about women are better in every way than men. And the question that I would have is, I'm sorry, you said something
I didn't
about
say anything close to that. I agree with you that I think the sexist, no, I honestly, the men versus women sex thing, I think it's silly. I think these traits, human traits, are human traits. Some were nurtured more in this person, some were nurtured. Like my dad being a stay-at-home dad, he was much better mother than my mother was. I am so sorry, Mom, if you see this. But he just was. He was a better mom than she was. And sometimes that's the case. Forget the gender role stuff and like these are all human traits. You either are a gentle, nurturing, organized person who wants to take care of a kid or you're not. And that doesn't go man, woman, that goes person.
And I will say, not every woman is a mother. Not every woman should be a mother.
And not everyone, right.
But I would just say this, find me the society of women that are doing it by themselves.
I would love to see it.
Exactly, it doesn't exist.
Why though?
Because
She just asked.
we are not able to sustain it. We live in a safe, civil society because the men have made an agreement amongst themselves to not blow it all up.
She could.
See, they need to show more black women like that in social media than they do. Because it's more like a ton of.
Fuck that. Did this lady really just get on this pod and call her dad a bitch?
She did.
My dad was a better mom than my mom.
The thing, it wasn't the mom. The dad was a better mom. He was just a good dad. And I hate when women try to conflate shit. They be trying to conflate shit just because that's that inherent try to feminize men type shit, bro. He was just a good dad.
But
Why is it so hard? What is so hard about saying, yo, I had a real good dad and I had a shitty mom?
Hey, I agree with you, man. But just based on how she looks and whatever, I'm gonna say her dad was probably really feminine, and that's why she's saying that he was better. I'm gonna say he.
We don't know.
I'm gonna say who it was, because if he was a dude have structure, I don't think she would turn out that way. I think he was someone who went with the flow and said, "Hey, you know what, you blah, you do all this," and just real feminine. I know a lot of dudes like that, bro, and it's like they're just hella feminine, like.
No,
and
I
that's
think
how it goes.
I think she I think she had a great dad, and it's one of those things where I think sometimes when kids you gotta nip it in the bud or something like that, or they just gonna be that black sheep. They get to a point in the rebellious stage, and they can either go left or right with it. It could be a fad, or they just keep going. And I think with her, just keep going by that pink hair, because she admitted her dad was a good dad and all that type of stuff. But I done heard plenty of women that went the other way, and they just had the different types of influence. Where the mom was hugely influenced, even though she was a shitty mom, she always looked for the what's the word for it? Acceptance from the mom, but the mom played a good factor too. And she probably got that side from the mom. The dad did what he was supposed to do, but the mom she had a shitty mom. So just like how masculine we can say that she was and all that type of stuff, but even though she had the hair and everything, if you was a flip in reverse and you see guys, yeah, they had a real good mom. The mom was doing her job, but the dad wasn't really there or wasn't doing their job. You see the dude acting a little bit feminine. But like I said before, if that man was around, he played football and had mentors and everything, life would treat him how to be the man that he needs to be. He just didn't have that around. Just like with her, she probably didn't have a good representative of a mom.
I'm about to disagree. I'm going to say that dad was
You think
feminine.
you'll have a good representative of a mom? I gotta disagree with that.
With her, she said she had a shitty mom.
I think what it was. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I think the dad was the enabler, and the mom was the one on the opposite side. I think the mom was the one that was. I think the mom was the one that was a conservative, and dad was the one that was enabling her.
That might be a good take. Yep. I just thought about it. She might say he was a good dad, and she said good mom, and say I had a shitty mom. The mom probably didn't like how shit was going.
Because she probably went to college, you already know how that works in indoctrination camps. So therefore they got this one way of thinking. She been raised a certain way the entire time until she went to college. Next thing you know, she experienced a little bit of life, and some professor who telling her all this other bullshit, and then she believed in it, and then she just stuck with it. And she argued, she went against the grain, and her dad supported it, her mom didn't. And here we are today. Now she arguing in heaven, because it's always the ones who feel as if they have a quote unquote identity crisis, who fight for it the hardest. Think about mixed people, the ones who are black and white, and they don't know which side of the aisle to lean on.
You talking about the Whack Panthers?
They lean so hard. It's like, oh, I'm black. No, you're mixed. I'm sorry. And that's not to take away from anybody. My daughter's a mix, right? So therefore, I make sure I say, listen, you're definitely going to be able to align with both sides, because that's what you are. You're not one-sided. You're half and half. I don't care how you feel about it. That's what you are. It is what it is. And so that's the problem, and that's the problem with a lot of these people, because they got this identity crisis that they have, and all of a sudden they want to try to prove to everybody, oh, I'm this way, I'm this. Nah, fam, living who you are. And this is the only time I would actually use this. This is the only time that you would catch me using this. Living your truth. Living the truth. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna even use it. Live in the truth. The truth is you're mixed, or you were raised this way. This ain't how you are. Be who you are. Don't lean one way because one person. I get it. The whole, go where you're accepted. Not when you tolerate the bullshit. But at the end of the day, you're both. So I mean, at the end of the day, embrace it. Embrace who you are. Embrace what you are.
It hit a little different when they say, "Yeah, I'm white."